Now, Ray, I know you get a lot of shit about the times you decide to go live. What's the official time of Ray DeVito's show nowadays?
It honestly, I try not to conflict if I know other people are going live. Um, but also like I do stand up at night,
Yeah.
so like I can't control exactly what time I get done with the show, what time I get back. I notice that there's more people available at 10, so I try to focus on 10.
Sure.
What if I'm going to be a little later than 10? Then it's after that. But then
You catch shit for that, right? Not having a set time, like, hey, we're gonna broadcast at this time. I think you know what you do. What I've done in the past, and that's you worry too much. You worry that people aren't gonna be here at this time, or they might be here more at this time. Just fire off at the top of the hour and go with that.
yeah, no, I like doing it this way. I know I get shit with it, but I try to stick to like either 10 or 11 if I know I'm going to be late. I try to do that.
Isn't Carlos Danger from the Insufferable Bastard supposed to be producing, like making sure, he should be taking care of that shit, making sure everything's on time. And you're the talent, Ray. You can't be worried about all this logistical shit. Let Carlos do that.
That's the first time someone called me the talent.
Yeah, well, that's one of my biggest problems with the way you're treated on your own goddamn program. I like that you've been going back at these guys a little bit because they need to recognize that the reason people are there is because of Ray DeVito, not because of Joe or Carlos Danger or anybody else. I'm sure you're grateful for their help. But you're the fucking talent, and you got to put your foot down and let these guys. You got to have a separation of labor here with your program.
Well, I like all those guys, obviously. But also I think they like it when I get mad. Like every time I get mad at them and get angry, they're like, "Oh, that was great. That was great." So it's almost like they want me to get worked up.
Great for them. But not great for you. That's what I mean. Like you're in charge. You got to. I like it when you yell at those guys. You're like, "Shut the fuck up! It's my show." So on and so forth. Like I saw that guy that Joe ran off, that buddy of yours, and he ran off because he wanted to get it.
I was not happy about that. Joe knows that. We've handled that behind the scenes.
My problem with Joe, even from our interview, is that Joe has this weird little man syndrome where he wants to prove to everybody that he knows a lot of shit and he can do shit and this and that. And he wants to jump in when it's not his show. I sometimes I watch, the way Joe treated that friend of yours and the way he stepped all over you during our program that we did. I get confused and I'm like, Joe, if you want to do a fucking show, then do a fucking show, but don't produce someone else's show and then use it as a Trojan horse to take over for yourself. That's what I mean, Ray. You got to put your foot down on these guys because I find it entertaining when you yell at Carlos or you yell at Joe or anyone else and like, hey, my show, fall in line. This is what we're doing.
Well, if you notice, like when you did, thank you for doing my show, but also like that's when I just began on the network and like the McCaffrey thing, that's when I just began. So like things have been cleared up since then. Like that doesn't happen so much anymore. And by the way, I do like when Joe's on the show a lot of times. A lot of times I ask Joe to come on the show. I like Joe. Yeah.
Does he currently have a gun pointed at you so you say that?
He does have guns. That is one thing he does. He definitely has guns.
Good call.
Yeah, but he is a good guy. I know he's getting a lot of flack online right now. And to Joe's credit, like he likes it. He doesn't mind it. He doesn't run away from it. He leans into the bit.
He does. He strikes me as a guy, and take this however you will. He strikes me as a guy who's just happy to be getting the attention, as it were. So
he is a smart guy too. I mean, you could say what you want, but he is a smart guy. Like I think yesterday we never got into it, but I had some article from the Wall Street Journal, and the whole thing was about like Native Americans, kids. Like they're getting upset that like white families are adopted. Like that was just in the headline. I go, I'm just going to read the headline and make up my own story. Yeah. And then you tell me what it actually is. And then because I don't know if you do that with the news, but I'll do that with the news a lot. Like a lot of times you'll see like a New York Times article. You just read the headline, then you go to read it, and it like a lot of times it makes you subscribe to the store.
Sure.
I'm not gonna buy it.
No,
but that article was like actually the whole article was there, and I go, I'm just going off the headlines, saying that white families are trying to adopt all the Native American babies.
Yeah.
And Native American families are angry at it. I still don't know what the article is about. So,
Well-
but we never got into it. But I like him. He's a smart guy, and I do like Joe. I'm gonna put that on right now. Let's shit on him.
Let's shit
son
on,
of a bitch.
Let's shit on that piece
That
of
bastard.
shit. Let's shit on him for a little bit. Let's be honest, because you and I have not spoken since the first time I was on. And while I had fun in a perverse way, because I think it was Joe and the audience were like, we're going to get this guy. We're going to get him. And it seems like every time they went for their gotcha, I just kind of went, no, it's not like that. It's like this. And I just kind of swiped it away. And then I was like, all right, let's get back.
People were really upset with you at that time. I didn't realize all the heat that was like, wow, people wanted your head on a platter.
What can I say? I'm a heel, baby. I'm a heat seeker. We're both pro wrestling fans. I get heat. I get the good kind of heat. But yeah, I think Joe kind of wanted to jump in on that, and he kind of wanted to be a part of it, and he wanted it to be the Ray, Aaron, and Joe show. And I was like, fuck you. I want to talk to Ray. I don't give a shit about this guy over here. So I kind of thought it got hijacked a little bit because you and I got going on a couple of good riffs, and then here comes this fucking weird, like, kid voice coming in. Ray, excuse me. We have super chats we need to get to. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, Ray and I are trying to talk about shit, and all of a sudden it's like, excuse me, Ray, you're making this guy look too likable and enjoyable. We got a bunch of people who want to shit on him, so let's do that. Which I thought was fun, but also I thought it kind of took away from what you wanted to do. I got the vibe that your show kind of got hijacked on you.
Well, I'll be honest. That day, I had the worst Wi-Fi I've ever had. Like, my buddy has a studio, and he's like, no, come here. I got the great Wi-Fi, and it was horrible. So a lot of times, like, I couldn't even see me. Yeah. I would just be spinning, even though you could hear me, and I was live. Like, so I was like, it was like trying to drive a car through a heavy rainstorm. Yeah. It's like I couldn't see the road through a lot of it. I could hear your voice and stuff, but I couldn't see me. I was spinning and stuff. So, I mean, a lot of it was on me, on my own head. I just saw, and also that day in particular, I was really, because at that time, Chad and I were like kind of friendly, for a moment, and then he just like went rogue and was like trying to get me. He lied to Levy and Brennan to try to get me off of the MLC for good.
Oh, you were fucking
Shuli about so I was heated at.
You were going
like trying
after
to get someone fired.
Yeah, you were going after Chad. You were going after Bob. You were going after everybody that day. But I did feel like even when you weren't having problems, like we would get going, you'd ask me a question, I'd start answering, and here this little pipsqueak is fucking off screen going, we need to get to some super chats, you guys. And it's like, who the, like in Scarface, who the fuck is this guy, man? And I'm just like, fuck this guy. Ray, let's talk. Let's chat. And then it just kind of, it never got there. That's why I'm glad I could get you here today. And we could talk more about you.
Guess what I got with me? Get in here, Jill.
Yeah. Excuse me, Ray. I don't like this guy, and he teases me, so we need to find some bad things to say about him. We got it. I'll go on. Look, Joe needs to get his own show so he can settle his own scores, and I'll go on it. And that's the other thing about your show. When I was on it, I felt it was unfair to you because, like you said, you had so many people who like wanted to settle a personal score with me, and it felt like they wanted to do it through you, and that kind of pissed me off on your behalf. Like I was mad for you, where I was like, Ray wants to do a show. Ray and I have been talking about doing this for a long time before any of this shit happened. And now everybody, like even on that post show that you did, everybody was like, Ray, why didn't you do this? Ray, why didn't you do that? And I'm like, nobody ever gave Ray a chance to fucking talk.
Yeah, I like I said, like looking back at it, I should have got a hotel room, something which would have guaranteed like great Wi-Fi. I felt a little blindsided that they had like a post show ready to go on the Shuli Network about it, like not even including me in it. Kind of like I kind of felt like I was set up to be like, I don't know, like whatever they wanted me to.
Right.
Like I was set up by them. I felt like I mean, I hashed it out. That's all water under the bridge. Now someone's going to see this. They're like, look, he's throwing him under the bus again. It's like, no, this shit we already hashed out.
Look, man, you don't need to feel crazy feeling that way because it's exactly how I felt watching the whole thing go down. I was like, these are people who they could have had me on. You know, I could have had them on if they wanted to settle something with me. I've been, you know, I'm an old hand at this game. We could have done that, but I just thought to use you as it's like Joe almost
like it's a mafia hit. They told me like, hey, you're just gonna go in and drop off this. You know, it's just gonna go in there and drop off this loaf of bread. We just made them some bread. You just go in there and then they come in with machine gun.
But then the problem was they got really mad at you after because it didn't work out that way. Like you and I ended up, you know, putting a show together. And then it seemed like every time someone would have you on their show or respond and they talk about that interview, they're either pissed off at you because you didn't get me, or they were pissed off at me because I like didn't run away crying or something. I'm like, guys, you ever watched interviews? Like, that's kind of how they're supposed to go.
Well, we're going to get them both today. We're both going to cry today. Like,
we're running away.
Like we're both going to open up Barbara Walters style or something, or like Oprah.
We're running away screaming from this one. Yeah. I got to be honest. I think you and Carlos Danger, I think, are a good pair. And I think a lot of people have said that. Carlos.
Finally, someone likes him. I don't like him.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I think sometimes you do have to put him in his place because I think he likes the shine he's getting from Ray DeVito, and sometimes he gets a little over his skis thinking he's the reason. And I think
you hear this, Carlos?
I think sometimes
let this sink in, Carlos. You hear this?
Ray DeVito is the reason for the season. He's the reason why all these people are coming to watch is because of Ray DeVito. So you sometimes, like I said, you got to put your foot down and let them know, hey, it's the Ray DeVito show.
This message is for Carlos Danger.
You're my helper. Act like a helper. But no, I'm glad we're getting to do it this way. I'm very excited that we get to, you know, get this stuff all out there. And, you know, it does. I think you're right. I'm glad it's water under the bridge. I'm glad you've worked that stuff out. But I felt like, especially with our show, there were a lot of people using you because they didn't want to come to me directly. And I felt like even with the Pottstown stuff and things like that, people were trying to use you for something. And I thought they would make you like a whack packer or something. And you did kind of hulk up a little during that whole process. And you started like yelling at Kevin, yelling at Shuli, yelling at your co-host, yelling at other people. You're like, no, fuck that. I ain't going to be Jeff the Drunk. I'm not going to be Beetlejuice. And now you've kind of carved out a little niche for yourself.
Yeah, no, it is fun. Like, I'm just doing this for fun. I'm not here. I don't want to get angry at people. I'm just having fun. Like that's all. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Just having fun. It's not supposed to be as toxic as a lot of people want it to be.
Right.
Like,